All right, today we're going to break down the powerful psychology behind why we buy things we don't actually need. And this goes way beyond just feeling a little buyer's remorse. It's really about shifting our entire mindset, moving away from temporary wants and towards long-term value.
I mean, we've all been there, right? You get that initial thrill from a new purchase, but then it fades, and it's replaced by this kind of nagging feeling of regret. It's a totally universal feeling, but you know what? It doesn't have to be our default setting.
Because at the heart of it, there's this internal conflict. Our brains are literally wired to chase novelty, to want the shiny new thing. But if we can get brutally honest with ourselves about our true needs versus just our passing wants, we can sidestep so many of those regrettable purchases.
Okay, so first up, let's talk about one of the biggest spending traps out there, buying things for an aspirational version of ourselves. This is where we buy stuff not for the life we actually have, but for the life we imagine we're gonna have someday. A classic example is the elaborate home gym. We buy it, picturing this future self who uses it every single day. But what's the reality for most of us? Well, an incredibly effective workout needs nothing more than the simple basics you see right over there. Now here's where it gets really interesting. There's this counterintuitive psychology at play. We think buying all the fancy gear is going to motivate us, but a lot of the time, the exact opposite happens. See, the act of buying it satisfies that initial urge, telling our brain we've already accomplished something, and then the gear just sits there, becoming a source of guilt we end up avoiding.
So how do you beat this little psychological trap? Well, you can try the 1-year rule. Commit to a full year of exercising with only what you already have. If you're consistent, then you've earned the right to buy one key item to upgrade your routine. It's all about proving the habit before you purchase the gear.
You know, this whole idea of buying for a life we don't really have, it leads us right into our next big theme, the myth of the perfect home. This is all about the pressure we feel to kinda perform adulthood by buying things that look the part, even if they don't fit our actual lives at all. Just think about all those single-use kitchen gadgets. They promise this fantasy lifestyle, right? Waffle sundaes, spontaneous cheese fondue parties, but in reality, they often just sit in a cabinet, untouched, gathering dust for pretty much the entire year.
I mean, this quote from our source material just nails it, doesn't it? The item gives you this one single moment of use and is followed by a massive cleanup effort and then a full year back in storage. For most of us, the value just isn't there.
So the fix for this is something called the 5-need rule. Just keep a running note on your phone. Every time you genuinely think, man, I wish I had a waffle maker right now, log it. If you hit 5 separate times you felt that need within a year, that's a really strong sign you'll actually use it. If not, hey, you've just saved yourself money and, just as important, precious cabinet space.
And this pressure for perfection, it isn't just about gadgets. It's about our decor, too. We feel like everything has to be brand new, perfectly coordinated. But chasing that kind of sterile perfection often means we miss out on creating a home that has real character and personality.
I absolutely love this story from the source. Instead of buying some pricey, matching set, this host found a creative and totally stress-free solution. It just goes to show that secondhand doesn't mean second best. A lot of the time, these unique finds are what really give a home its charm.
In this myth of the perfect home, it pops up everywhere. I mean, you're paying for every square foot of your place, so why dedicate a whole room to a formal sitting room that nobody ever uses? Or why maintain these complex paper files when we live in a digital world? It's the same thing with cleaning supplies. Why buy a dozen specialized sprays when 1 or 2 will do the job just fine?
All right, our third and final theme is this constant chase for the next best thing. We've been so conditioned to believe that as soon as a new model comes out, our perfectly functional current version is suddenly obsolete.
This statistic is pretty staggering, actually. The average American replaces their phone in less than 2 years. Just think about that for a second. The marketing cycle for new tech has totally convinced us that we need an upgrade long before our current devices have lost their usefulness. It's a cycle that's incredibly wasteful, both for our wallets and for the planet.
So the key here is to build a pause into your process. Before you replace something, just take a breath. Is your device just slow? Well, try freeing up some memory. Is it actually broken? Get a quote for a repair. The goal is to make replacement the absolute last resort, not your first instinct.
This upgrade mindset also feeds into something you could call the convenience tax. Every time you buy something pre-made or pre-packaged, you are paying a massive premium for that convenience. Like you see here, a single prepackaged meal often costs as much as the raw ingredients to make that same meal 2 or even 3 times over.
And this pressure is just everywhere you look. It's in those bloated cable packages with hundreds of channels you never watch, and in those recipes that call for one expensive, super specific ingredient you'll never use again. It's all about questioning whether the upgrade actually adds any real value to your life.
So, what's the big takeaway here? What's the solution? It's all about shifting your entire perspective from thinking about one-time costs to thinking about long-term value. And the best way to do that is by adopting the cost-per-use mindset.
Now, the concept is really simple, but it's so powerful. Before you buy something, just think about how many times you'll realistically use it. A $100 pair of boots you wear 100 times has a cost per use of just $1. A $30 fondue pot you use once has a cost per use of $30. Your goal always is to get this number as low as you possibly can.
This quote really gets to the heart of the whole thing. It's about shifting our mindset away from disposability and towards durability. The goal is to use what we own to its absolute fullest capacity, only replacing something when it truly no longer serves its purpose.
So, I'll leave you with this one question. After everything we've looked at today, what's one unnecessary item you can commit to stop buying starting right now? Answering that question for yourself? Well, that's the first and most powerful step towards a more intentional life.